Hi, I'm Benjamin from Schacht Spindle Company, and in this video, I'll be teaching you how to spin on a drop spindle. To get started, you're going to need a drop spindle and some fiber. Depending on what kind of leader you might make, you might need some string. The first step in spinning on a drop spindle is to make a leader. What that is a piece of string or some fiber that has been spun to create the beginnings of your spinning. To create a leader, take a length of yarn that's about 18 to 24 inches long, cut it, and then you're going to tie it into a loop. Then, on the shaft of the spindle, you're going to take that loop, lay it across this shaft, and bring the end up through the loop. Like so. Then, you'll want to do a half hitch knot to really secure that in place. We don't want any slippage. So now, on the Schacht high-low drop spindle, we have a notch in the whorl right here. You're going to take your leader, place it in that notch, and then loop a couple of times around the cup hook at the top. It should look like this. The other method of making a leader is to actually spin one. So again, I'm going to wind some fiber around my hand. This just helps it keep it managed. And then to create a leader, what you're going to do is take the cup hook end of your drop spindle. You're going to grab some fibers and you're just going to add twist gently, and I do it by hand at first. Once I have some twist built up, then I'll park it between my knees and I'll draft out some fiber. Not too much. And then I'll just keep going for a little bit. Little by little, drafting out some fiber, letting the twist go up. So then once I have, about 18 to 24 inches of singles spun, I'm going to very carefully take it off of the cup hook and then wrap around my shaft, wrap around the shaft, capturing that tail end, that way it can't slip. And then you're ready to spin. Before you spin, you want to prep your fiber. And a lot of fiber will come in as roving or sliver or combed top, which looks a lot like this. And what I like to do in this scenario is split my fiber in half or more, depending on how large that roving is. And then I'm going to do what's called pre-drafting. Pre-drafting is making the fiber a little bit more loose. It spreads it out more. It makes it easier to spin. It's going to elongate this whole piece as well. So to pre-draft, first you need to know how long your staple length is. So to figure out what the staple length is, staple length is the length of a fiber. You're just going to pull out a little bit of fiber from the top of your roving, and that's about 5.5 to 6 inches of a staple length. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm pre-drafting, I'm going to keep my hands about 5.5 to 6 inches away from each other. And I'm going to hold my front hand and pull with my back hand slightly. I'm going to inch my way up the roving. I'm always keeping my hands just a little bit past that staple length. So again, what that has done is it's lengthened my roving quite a bit. It's also opened up the fibers to make them easier to spin. You can tell that there's a lot more air and space in between them. It also helps that when I'm drop spindling, I'm not going to get too much fiber in while I'm spinning. So the next thing that I'm going to do is take that fiber and actually wrap it around my wrist a few times. And that keeps it out of the way as I'm spinning. Then, with my drop spindle and my leader, I'm going to take just a few bits of my fiber and put it in the loop and pinch it together with my fingers. And now it's time to start spinning. So this is currently in top whorl method, which means that the whorl is above the shaft and the shaft is pointing down. No matter what, you're going to want to start spinning clockwise. That's the most common direction to start spinning your singles yarn. The basics of spinning, you have twist that's going up into fiber to lock all that fiber together. You have your two hands doing the work. And what you have is a hand that is holding the fiber and pinching the fiber, and then you're going to have your other hand that's controlling the spindle by spinning it. And when you're in the park method, it's going to hold that twist while you take your fiber hand and draft backwards. And then this other hand that's pinching is going to slide up those fibers to guide the twist into those fibers. The space between these fingers is called the drafting triangle, and you don't want any twist to come up between these two fingers. You want to let that bottom set of fingers guide the twist up. And to determine how much twist you want or need, what you want to do is take that length of singles and let it go back on itself a little bit. It creates a little loopy-loop, and that'll give you an idea of what a balanced 2-ply yarn will look like, what size it's going to be, how even it's going to be, how much twist it has. And if you have not enough twist, you can just always add twist by spinning your drop spindle. Or if you have too much twist, you can just let it back off a little bit by spinning the opposite direction. Then once you've spun some, you'll wind it onto your shaft, and then use the notch to catch your single, loop your single around the cup hook again, and you're ready to keep spinning. And there you have it. If you're spinning in bottom whorl, with the bottom whorl method, and you're making your own leader, I recommend that you actually need to make a little bit longer leader, because what you're going to do is with this yarn, there's a little notch on the end of the shaft, and you are going to tie a half hitch along the shaft. And the thing about that notch is that you don't need to make it in that notch, but that notch helps prevent it from completely slipping off. But that half hitch keeps you secure. So to spin using the bottom whorl method, you can either again spin it like a top, or I prefer again using my leg. And then you undo that half hitch. And you wind your yarn onto your spindle, leaving enough to redo the half hitch. Once you've spun all of your singles, take those singles and wind them into a center pull ball, or wind them onto 2 separate storage bobbins or cardboard spools. Take 2 ends of the singles, hold them together, then wrap them around the cup hook and start spinning in a counterclockwise direction to start the twist. Once you've secured those ends, make sure that you separate those singles using your fingers. Then continue to spin counterclockwise. Once you've gotten enough of a ply made, start winding it around the shaft of the spindle. Secure the end just as you did when you were spinning singles. Then secure the yarn in the notch and wrap around the cup hook. Continue spinning in the counterclockwise method until you've used all of your singles. Once you spin enough plied yarn, you can then remove it, turn it into a skein, wash it, and use it. Thank you for watching this tutorial. If you like this video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Click the bell notification to make sure to get notified every time we upload a new video. And that's why they call it a drop spindle.